back on this Ferrari this morning. Time to get it all mounted up, and yeah, just in the car. So what I'm doing, you can see I'm making this mount here. So this was one of the original mounts off the MR2. So I'm being able to utilize this. It's worked out really well actually, because I've got this cross member here which that mount sits on perfectly.
Hi, Paul.
Morning mate, you okay?
Yeah, good stuff.
So yeah, this mount sits on there absolutely perfectly. I've cleaned up all the steel here, just took the paint off it, and then I've cut part off the mount there, and that is going to weld onto there like that, and that's going to create my second lug for this mount, and that's going to work really well. That's one mount then completely done. So that's this mount done, all boxed off. I will just take this off at some point, just clean that weld up a little bit and weld the back side of it, but that one's all done, dusted and on there now. Next one is this one here. So I've bolted this mount on here, so now I'm just going to make a brace which comes down to this this subframe cross member here. Get this bit of wood out of the way, and yeah, we'll just come down to there, and that will be the back one, nice and easy. While I'm on the case, let me show you this. You know what, it's no wonder this engine, when I did the track day in the MR2, the one thing that I noticed was that the engine did seem to move around a bit, and I was cornering hard and stuff. I could feel it vibrating in places against the body and things like that. Anyway, I've just pulled one of these mounts off that was mounted to the MR2. Let me show you this. So this is a mount kit that I believe you can buy Honda to mount K20 into an MR2. Now look how thin that plate is on the base to start with. If you get hold of this, bear in mind this is just me by hand. I can move that. The welds on the back, well, it isn't even welded on the side. It's just got a couple of spot welds on the back, which have then been ground off. The movement in that is ridiculous. Now, I know there would be a bush in between here, so that's going to help a bit, but still, I wouldn't expect an engine mount to move like that by hand. If I can move that by hand, you can see how bent it is now. If I can move that by hand, imagine how much that moves with an engine on it. It's really bad, that. So I'm quite glad actually that I'm taking this thing apart, because judging by a few of the things that I'd found with that car, it looked very pretty on the outside, but the way it had been put together wasn't really the best. So there we go. That is going to be my back mount. So that will literally weld up onto the subframe, and will go up onto the mount that I've bolted to the block. I used the lugs off of that mount that I didn't like because they were quite substantial, and then what I've done is I've welded a decent bit of angle iron in there, and then these two bits of 40 by 40 box onto the bottom, which will extend it up to the mount. So all in all, that is a pretty chunky mount now. I've got absolutely no worries about welding that onto the chassis and knowing that that is going to do its job. So that's it, guys. Engine is now officially fully mounted. Every mount in the car is done, finished. So I've been able to take the blocks of wood out this morning, and it's supporting itself and it's nice and firm, which is one of the things I wanted. Like I said, when I took the MR2 on a track day, the engine was moving around all over the place. I could feel it vibrating against the body. I think drive shafts were touching the subframe as well, so really didn't want that with this car. It feels horrible. So next on my list of things to do now, I've just come out to the MR2. As you can see, it's in a bit of a state, but hey-ho, it's what the car was bought for. So next thing to do is get the gears working, because I'm going to be going for a startup on this car very, very soon. Not today, obviously, but obviously I'm going to need to get it in gear. Now, again, one of the beauties of buying this car was the hope that some of this gear selector that's been made up, that worked absolutely perfectly, I'm hoping I'm going to be able to put this into the Ferrari. So I'm just unbolting it from the floor. My only worry is that the cables will maybe be too short. I do think the MR2 is slightly shorter than the Mondial, so we'll see. I'm going to unbolt it and get it physically in my hand, and then we'll have a look. We'll see. The worst case scenario, I can only see me needing to extend these rods slightly, maybe. I don't know, we'll see. I'll get it out and then see where we are from there. Just these two bolts going through the bulkhead, and then this whole assembly should pull out. I believe these are modified Honda Integra Type R cables. They've got Integra written on there, so I think they are they are clearly aftermarket cables. So there we have it. That is the shifter box that this guy made to put this engine into the MR2. Now I'm hoping that is going to go into the Ferrari. I would have liked to have used the gated, the standard gated part of the Ferrari, but that is only 5-speed. Obviously I'm going for a 6-speed on this. I could probably modify it, but I'd imagine it's going to be a lot of extra work. So we'll see how this goes first. See if I can get this one in, because if this one goes in, it'll save me quite a bit of hassle. So working on this gear linkage setup, I've now got the cables attached at the top, and I've got this whole thing hanging down underneath. Now this is not going to fit in the car, it's way too short, so it's not going to work as it is. But that being said, I don't know if you can see this, but that bolt sticking out there is connected to the original gear stick. So my thought is fix this, fix this up there, and fix the top. Cut the what was the original gear stick. If you see in there, if I cut that down and weld an adjustment point onto it, there's no reason why that shouldn't select all the gears that I need. And then the beauty of that as well, let me just drop this down. So the hope is that by me joining that under there, is that I'm going to get to keep this gated part of the gear stick. Now, I personally think that that movement side to side there is way too much for the Honda gearbox. So my hope is that I get first, second, I think third is going to be closer here, but this is just 2 bolts that hold this on. So if I take this off, and if I get to select all 6 gears in that space, in that bit of travel, if I get to select all 6 gears and come across to reverse, well, I can just get a new one of these laser cut, and that will give me all of my gears whilst keeping the original gear selector in here. And then I can just change the gear. I love this gear knob, it's so retro and so cool, but it's going to be wrong. So, but how cool would it be if I can just keep all that center console completely intact and keep that looking like it is. So I'm going to crack on, and I'm going to get this cut under here now, and I'm going to get a fitting welded on it. I'm going to bolt it up, and I'm going to see if we've got gears. I've got a feeling this is going to work. I really think this is going to work. So fingers crossed, I'm onto something here. So a little bit of an update. Been working on these gears. I'm not going to lie, I've really struggled with these. It's not been as simple as I first thought, but I think I'm somewhere near now. Got my little helper here, Jessica. Jess, jump down, darling. Right, you get in the car, Baba. And you do what I showed you how to do before, yeah?
So just what I did first?
Yeah, are you in?
Yeah.
Yeah? Right, watch your fingers. Right, go on then, Jessica.
To the side?
Go on, yeah, that's it. And again, over to the side. And then up. That's it, and back down.
Good?
All good?
Yeah.
So, I think we're pretty much there. I'm not going to really know until I drive this thing properly if I've got every single gear that I need, but I've fiddled around with this a lot today, and I reckon I'm certainly somewhere near. I'm certainly going to get most of the gears. If I have to make a few adjustments to the linkage and stuff, then I can do. But the main thing is I've managed to retain the Ferrari gear stick inside, because I really didn't want to go down the route of like a K-swap shifter inside the car. I want to keep this looking nice and original inside, so I'm pretty sure that I've achieved that now, but we'll see. It's not far off ready to start and move now, so yeah, I think I've cracked on with this pretty well. I have now got a few days off it, unfortunately, because I've got another Ferrari coming in tomorrow for some exhaust work, which I'll do a video on, but this is going to have to just take a back seat for a few days because other work's got to come first, unfortunately. So let me just take it up in the air, and I'll show you what I've done underneath, just to give you an idea of how we've got to this point so far. Keep going all the way up. So this is what we've got basically. It's So this is the original MR2 shifter mechanism, and I've just had to make a couple of brackets. You're not even really going to be able to see up there, but I've had to make a couple of brackets up there to join it to the end of the Ferrari gear stick. I'm missing a bolt off there, so I need to put a bolt on there, but it just bolts on there, bolts on here, and it doesn't sit a great deal lower underneath the car than the subframe. So this part of the floor here, because these are the fuel tanks, so I've got a flat floor to go on here, so all I'll do is I'll modify the floor to just come underneath there, just to give this a little bit of protection from speed bumps and stuff like that. It probably looks lower at the moment because the back wheels are down in the recesses of the ramp, but yeah, for the time being we've now got gears, so I will be able to get this thing off the ramp and physically get it moving. So next thing I need to do is, up there you can see I've just got my drive shafts. They do line up absolutely perfectly with my drive shaft cups here, nice and straight. So my plan for now is just to modify the end of the Civic drive shaft to go on there, and then that will slide in there, and then the same on this end as well. At the moment I've just cut them, which is a bit rogue, I know, but it's just to get me a pattern. What I will end up doing is getting these things sent off and getting them made properly. But for now, just to move it about, get it off the ramp, get it moving, I'm going to weld them. So that's just the way it is. We've got now, I don't know if you can see, that's my mount up there, which looks really tidy. I'm going to paint all this black, so this will all look really nice. And then I've got these pipes here, which I need to connect up. These are all my radiator pipes, so that should be nice and easy to do as well. Now there has been a bit of a change of plan with this setup here. I've currently put this up for sale. It was, or it is, a decent little setup. Turbo Smart wastegate, Pulsar turbo with the Sidewinder manifold. But when this is all bolted onto the car, I think I showed you previously, it is fouling the boot lid, and I don't want to cut the boot lid. I'm not going to cut the boot lid. I had two ways to go about it really, or three ways. Cut the boot lid and have the wastegate sticking out, which some people would like, I guess, but it's not for me. Or I could have moved the location of the wastegate to a different area on the manifold, which would have been okay, but I'm still not convinced on this Pulsar turbo. I know people rave about them and a lot of people are using them, but personally on my 205 I run a Borg-Warner EFR, and that turbo is absolutely amazing. Now I've driven quite a few turbocharged K20s, and I still haven't driven one yet which compares for spool and just drivability as my 205. Now part of that is possibly down to weight of the 205, but I honestly believe as well that the EFR is just such a good turbo. It is so responsive, and after driving the MR2 with this turbo on, I'm not convinced that I'm ever going to find this as good as what I've got on the 205. So for that reason alone, I'm going to change this turbo setup for a Borg-Warner EFR. It's a Ferrari, for God's sake. Now I know that what I've done is far away from kind of a pure Ferrari, but if I'm going to do K20 turbo conversion on this car, I want it to be as good as it can possibly be. and a Borg Warner EFR is going to perform a lot better than that Pulsar turbo. So for that reason, I'm going to change it, and that will also get me around that issue of the wastegate sticking out of the boot, because the EFR has an internal wastegate, so that's going to work really well for me too. I'm going to have to make a manifold. I'm not bothered about that. It's my bread and butter. I can make a manifold, no problem. And I just think I can make a lot tidier, better performing setup. So I've got a guy coming Saturday to buy this off me, and yeah, I'll get the EFR on order and get a manifold made. Cheers, monkey. Good work.
Thank you.
So one other thing that we're going to be changing in this engine bay is the inlet manifold. Again, it works absolutely fine, and it's not something that I needed to do. We've got plenty of room, but I'm just not convinced that it looks the tidiest. So I have got a plan. As you can see, on there at the moment is the original K20 manifold, and although that works fine, I have got a plan, and it's something a little bit different, a little bit unique, something I have done before, but not on a K20. I did originally on my B series. I took a Nissan Pulsar GTIR manifold. Now, if you're not familiar with a Pulsar GTIR manifold, it looks very much like a Skunk 2 Ultra manifold. So I've got my hands on one of those off of a good friend of mine. Luckily, he does a lot with Pulsars, so he had one kicking about. So I bought that off of him, and my plan is to cut the plenum off this K20 one and make the two together to give me a complete one-off inlet manifold. It's going to be a bit of work, but when I did the last one, it was totally worth it, and it worked really, really well. So this one, hopefully, will turn out the same way.
Yeah, hopefully it really turns out the same way.
Also this week I've had this brand new Artec welding helmet, which I've been meaning to treat myself to one of these for a little while now, and yeah, this is really cool. It's got lift up front on it, so you've got grinding mode, welding mode, and then it's also air fed, so it's been an absolute godsend in the heat the last few days. It's really helped out, and obviously it's just a lot better for me. Been meaning to get an air fed helmet for quite a while now, and yeah, these came up really good price, and I'm really happy with it. Taking off this under tray has also revealed the fuel pump, so I'm going to swap this out for a Bosch 044. I've got an actual Motorsport edition Bosch 044, which came with all the steel internals rather than plastic internals, so it's a genuine Bosch Motorsport fuel pump. I bet a lot of people didn't even know they made two different types of 044s, but they do. So I've got one of those to go in here, which will feed up there nicely to fuel filter, which I'll replace. There's two fuel filters up there now. I'm going to replace both of those, obviously, for new ones, and then that's going to be my fuel system ready to go. I'm actually really chuffed with, when you look at the condition of these fuel tanks, they're in really nice condition, so I'm really happy with them. They look really nice. Obviously all my original fuel sender and everything like that should still work, which will be nice. And yeah, this is just all going to be a really nice setup. Really chuffed with how it's looking, to be honest. What's your thoughts on the Ferrari, Jess?
Yeah, I don't mind.
You don't mind? Is it going to be cool?
Yeah, I think so.
Are you looking forward to going to school in it?
I don't know.
I reckon you will.
Yeah.
So this is, let me show you because it's still in the front of you. this is the inlet manifold I've got to turn into as you can see, it looks just like a Skunk 2 manifold. So the plan is going to be to cut this across here and weld on the K20 flange, and then take this part off here and weld the throttle body flange onto there. The nice thing is you can open this manifold up to clean it all inside, make it all nice and smooth, almost port it if you like. And yeah, this is going to work really well, so I'm pretty excited about this. Like I said, I have done this once before for a B series, so it'll be nice to do it for the K and just have something completely different and unique.